Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, NursingOver40. If you are new here, welcome. If you're a returning subscriber, welcome back. I know my channel is new, so I don't have very many subscribers yet, but hopefully that will change just because I feel like I'm going to be able to upload a little bit more. I am no longer working at my full-time job, and so that's going to help me take some load off with school and everything, because let me tell you, this past 10 weeks has been crazy, especially me taking 6 classes. Currently, I'm in South College, but my plans have changed a little bit. I thought that's where I was going to go to get my RN license, but it is not. So currently, I am going to go to, currently I'm in South College. I'm doing some prereqs there. And then I found that I could take a couple of classes on study.com, and I'm going to take some classes there so I can transfer over to WGU, which is Western Governor University. And I am going to get my RN there. That program is like a self-paced program. They're in like 6 months blocks. And it is all online except for clinicals and labs, which you have to make arrangements if you're not close to one of those lab centers to go and spend that time there, which is not going to be an issue. It's going to be a whole lot better for my family and just the setup that we're going to be having, that I'd be able to take the actual classes online and then just go and handle my clinicals and labs when it comes up. But yeah, so that's a little bit of life update. Why I haven't posted except for the first video on this channel. It's just because it has been crazy. And so to help me kind of get on track and get things going, I did, and I have my notes here, I did come up with like 10 tips that helped me make all A's. And I'll show you right here. These are all A's that I got for this 10-week class for each one. And so I am very proud of myself and just happy that I was able to get the 10 weeks, or get all A's in the 10-week classes, especially me taking 6. Let's see. I know that, just the cycle of like pre-nursing classes and things like that can be like daunting and just overwhelming, because you have like anatomy, and then you have chemistry and labs, which I am taking chemistry currently. But you're having all that stuff while excuse me, that's loud. I guess they decided to start cutting grass maybe. It's foggy, rainy, or not rainy yet, but it's like dreary and like misting. So I'm not sure what that's about. So let's see if it stops for a second, but if not, I'll just have to keep going. But like I said, you have all that on top of life. Life just happens, and it gets kind of carried away. And so I just learned, some strategies. Also, just being older kind of helps me a little bit, because my priorities are a little different than when I was younger. If you look at my transcripts, you can tell that my classes from when I was younger versus my classes now. My classes when I was younger, I barely made it with a 2 point whatever GPA. And now I currently have a 4.0 this semester, and then I think my GPA overall was like a high 3s. Not really sure. I need to check on that. But anyway, so today I'm going to be sharing 10 tips that helped me earn A in my pre-nursing class. These tips are not in order. I just believe they are important. And so if you think this is going to help you, please continue watching. And let's go ahead and get into it. I am going to show y'all just my study setup and all that right now. And then we'll get back into talking about tip number 1. Before anything else, figure out how you learn best. I took a quick learning style quiz here as shown on the website. It told me that I was a visual and kinesthetic learner, which means I learn by seeing and doing. I'm very hands-on, and so that's how I learn the best. Once I knew that, I stopped like trying to copy how other people studied, and I just built my own study method from there. I do use both. I do use like a lot of visual cues. I try to practice things hands-on. Be honest with yourself and know what works for your classmates might not work for you at the end of the day. Tip number 2, preview before you read. So I always read the PowerPoints or like my class notes before opening the textbooks. This is just works best for me. It gives me a like roadmap, so when I start reading the chapters, I can understand what's important because I remember what I saw on the PowerPoint. Instead of like feeling lost, I can focus on connecting details and not drowning in them instead. Okay, tip number 3. It's all about creating a routine. You want to not cram and you want to create some kind of routine for yourself. This is how I do it. I make sure that all my homework is done first. Once my homework is done, then I start to study. If I start studying and I have homework or other things that I have to get done, then I am not going to focus on studying. I'm going to focus on those things. So I first make sure all my homework is done and then I will study. I also believe that it's not about like studying for hours and hours and hours every other day, every 3 days, whatever. I think it's more about being consistent. And so if you study every day, a little bit each day, and be consistent with that, I think you'll do a whole lot better than trying to cram everything, um, even if it's just for like 20 or 30 minutes at a time or in a day or something. That is better than, I think personally, is better than waiting the night before or whatever and just trying to cram for hours at a time. Your brain can only retain so much for so many hours, minutes, whatever. I don't know the exact, but I just know from personal experience that when I try to cram or study for hours at a time, am I really learning or really gathering the information? No. It's when I study 20, 30 minutes each period, and then take a break or whatever. So that's how I do it. I also think it's helpful to maybe get a countdown thing or something that maybe will count down. You click on it, and for those 30 minutes, you focus on schoolwork. And then after 30 minutes, reward yourself with like 10-minute break. There is a method called that. uh, I can't pronounce it or even know, but it's some kind of study method where you can either study for 50 minutes and take a 10-minute break, study 30 minutes, take a 5-minute break, something like that. So you can try to do that as well. Also, maybe when you do your calendars, you go ahead and schedule in study times. So do the study block method where when you're filling out your calendar, you actually put in, okay, I am going to study from this time to this time. So that way, you know, hey, from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m., man, I got to study. And, you know, when someone calls, ask you to do, hey, let's go hang out or whatever. No, I schedule myself from 6 to 7. I need to study kind of thing. It kind of just keeps you on track and keeps you accountable for that. Okay, it's finally quiet again. So let's do the next tip. Let me see where I'm at. Tip number 4, master flashcards. So I am a flashcard girly. I do both handwritten flashcards and I do Quizlet. I try to do Anki or however you say it. I don't know. I'm still working on those. That it's a lot of you just I don't know, either I don't know. I think I like Quizlet better. Let's just say that. But anyways, so I make 3 piles. I make a 100% know it. So these I study every 3 days. So any cards that I know and I can just, say right after, I'll just put it in that pile. Then I do, the next one is I do somewhat no, and I study these every other day. So I really, anytime that it takes me a few moments to answer or I hesitate a little bit, then I put it under the somewhat category. The next one is don't know it at all, which I study every day, a couple of times a day if can be. And so I'll just put these down, and then I will be honest with myself. You have to be honest with yourself. And then I will go through the flashcards, and then I'll lay them out in my piles. And so that's how I do my flashcard system. I believe that is a game changer. I never used to do that. And then when I started doing that, I've actually got better grades. Tip number 5, I encourage you to build a study guide before class. So before you even go to class, figure out what y'all are going to talk about and go ahead and create a study guide. Most of the time, the PowerPoints are already provided for you before you even get to class. So what I do is before each lecture, I create a mini study guide or even a concept map. I try to use like a lot of color coding and pictures to help me visualize, but I also just use the PowerPoints they give me in ChatGPT, which helps me a lot. And I'll throw the PowerPoint in there and ask ChatGPT to create me a study guide. Now, it's only going to give you basic stuff, so I recommend you going back in and filling in things that you need. And then by exam week, my study guide basically is my review sheet at the end of the day. So let's take a look at tip number 6. This is all about being honest with your needs and what you need from the school. If you need help, ask for it early. Ask your professors, whether that's sending them an email, or you can go into different tutoring sessions. So I'm showing you like where you can go to tutoring, where you can get help, ask for help for different things. You can also ask for disability accommodations, extra office hours. The best tip that I can give you is to advocate for yourself. There's no shame in needing extra support. It's actually, smarter to ask for help at the very beginning than it is to wait to the end. And your teachers are going to be like, well, why didn't you even ask me at the beginning? I also think it just shows how professional you are and how you are wanting to take this learning experience for you. So I encourage you to email teachers or do whatever you need to do to get the job done so you can learn the material. Tip number 7, use a planner as often and as regular as you can. I know sometimes I get out of the habit of it, but hopefully this semester, especially with me not being in school, I can get it done. Treat yourself to a nice planner, put everything in it, any kind of scheduling, anything coming up. You can do this digital or a handwritten planner, whatever works best for you. I treat my planner as if it's a part of my grade. I track my test, my lab deadlines, study blocks, things like that. Life doesn't stop for nursing school. I have responsibilities, but I found that when scheduling these things, it helps me, stay ahead, and then it doesn't allow like quizzes and tests to sneak up on me. This planner is what I use. I have not been using it as the best of my ability, but I strongly encourage y'all to get yourself a planner, whether it be on the computer or this. I am a paper type, book type person. I am trying to get better in my tablet, but it is what it is. So I'm trying to do better. I didn't do that great, but we will go to November. And this is the planner that I got. And then you can go in and put all your my day, the to-dos. So I am going to do that. But I strongly recommend y'all get a planner for school. All right, we're on tip number 8. That's building a studying environment that you love, that you like going to, things like that. I will show y'all in a minute, but I made a little theme area, and so it's a Harry Potter theme, and so I enjoy coming to my desk and studying and being around something I enjoy. You know, if that's lighting a candle, get you a nice scented candle, and lighten it before you study. You know, get into whatever, or make your environment whatever you think is comfortable for you. I am trying out different chairs. Currently, I stole this one from my fiance, but I am trying out different chairs that is comfortable for me, that will make me want to get out of my bed and actually come to my area. This coming up weekend, we are going to redo my study area. I'm still going to have like my Harry Potter stuff behind me, and if back here, and then on this side, I'm still going to have that stuff, but I think I need some kind of change with my desk, because I feel like I'm too close to this monitor and I want it back a little bit. So I got to figure that out. But, set the mood, make it something enjoyable, make your study time, your learning time does not have to be dreadful or, just boring and stuff. Make it your own. Again, get a comfy chair, get candles, get whatever. Turn on music without sound. I mean, without sound. That's dumb, Crystal. Turn on music without words. Do whatever makes it easy for you to get into the enjoyment of studying. Also, another thing about that is you want to turn your phone off. Take your phone, put it away from you. Put it on do not disturb if you need it by you. Maybe reward yourself if you really like TikTok and stuff. Okay, I'm going to study for this amount of time. If I get that done, then I can have 10 minutes of TikTok or 15 minutes of TikTok or whatever the case may be for you. So I think just having a cozy desk area is just what the doctor ordered, really. And it makes you just want to study. So let me show y'all my little Harry Potter section, and then we'll move on to tip number 9. All right, tip number 9 is attend every lecture. You're like, well, duh, Crystal, don't you have to go to school or whatever? Yes, but sometimes, not showing up to class is easier, because it's not like high school or middle school, things like that, where, you're going to get in trouble if you don't show up, kind of thing. They don't care. They're getting paid regardless, even if you don't show up or whatever. Some teachers do care, and they might pull you aside and stuff, but for the most part, they have so many kids that their last thing is trying to babysit where you're at every day. So it's important that you show up. There is a lot of times where I didn't want to go to school or whatever, but I forced myself because I needed to hear the material and get that time in the classroom. Now, if you're doing online lectures and stuff, make sure to do those. Don't skip, scroll by and just skip and just do the assignment or whatever. I know it's easier to do that, but just don't. It's going to make your grade a whole lot better if you listen to the lectures and stuff. Most of the time, the teachers are not just putting those lectures there for their behalf. Like, they're doing it because it's a meaningful reason why, they're doing it for a reason. Maybe some of the stuff that's on the lecture is not in your book or on the PowerPoints or whatever, but yet you start taking your test and you're like, I didn't hear this, I didn't see this or whatever. Duh, it's because you didn't attend the lecture or you didn't watch the video that was provided for you online. So just attend every lecture, watch all the videos. If you do have to miss, I strongly reaching out to your teacher. Whether if it's something that pre-ahead, reach out to them before, because they're going to like that. You take an initiative, Crystal. Showing that you care about the class, you just had this other arrangement. Or if you're like really, really sick, reach out to them. Let them know they are there to help you. Don't just skip and just not say anything or not show up. I promise you it's going to be a difference in your grade. Tip number 10, which is our last tip. Be consistent and be kind to yourself. I don't know how many times I tell you that you need to be kind to yourself especially when taking prereq classes or even in the nursing program, because they are tough. You'll have off days where you just don't feel like it, but if you be consistent and just show up for yourself and give yourself some grace, I promise you're going to do better in school. If you use your resources, study the way that you found works best for you, you'll be ready for like whatever comes at you, whether that be nursing school or any other type of college that you have. You're going to do way better if you just give yourself some grace, be kind to yourself, allow yourself to have some off moments, but don't dwell in those off moments. Make sure that you are picking yourself back up, getting back in your routine, doing whatever, and for sure being consistent. I think if I haven't learned anything through these last 10 weeks of this prereq class, is consistency is key. And that is what made me get all A's this semester, to be honest with you, because it is very, very hard. Especially I was working 40 hours a week and dealing with like sickness, because I have chronic sickness, and everything like that. But I was trying to be consistent and kind to myself. And that, I think, is also why I got all A's this semester. So that comes to the end of our video today. Those were my top 10 tips that got me an A in this prereq nursing classes. If you found any of those tips helpful or enjoyed this video at all, please hit that subscribe button. Also, leave me a comment. What other videos would y'all like me to show? If you really enjoyed the video or thought I did a good job on these tips, give me a like button. This is going to help my channel grow. I do plan on giving a lot more videos, a lot more knowledge-based information, especially starting at WKU after I get my prereqs out the way. I want to do a video about my thoughts on study.com once I finish that up, just overall. So please comment below, like, subscribe, all the good things. It's going to help my channel grow. But yeah, in the meantime, I hope y'all are having a wonderful semester. If you're on break, take it easy. Don't worry. Don't worry yourself too much about like trying to focus on what's up to come. Just enjoy yourself in that moment. And then get ready for school when it comes back if you're on break. But in the meantime, I will see y'all on my next channel. Bye, guys.